Welcome to A Pair of Bookends, the book club you can carry anywhere. I'm your host, Hannah MacDonald, and I'll be bookending the conversation with some of the most exciting voices from the bookish world. Welcome to our book club episode for January. This month, we invited you to join us in reading the amazing debut novel from Grace Murray, which is Blank Canvas. Blank Canvas gives us a fresh take on the much-loved campus novel, told from the perspective of Charlotte, a young, complicated woman who, upon making new friends at arts college, tells them her father has died. A lie told without hesitation, but how far can this lie actually go? This is a story of deception, queer love and class, and I'm delighted to be joined today by author Grace Murray to discuss it. Grace is a writer from Norwich who only recently graduated from Edinburgh University, where she read English literature and somehow found the time between studying and two part-time jobs to write. Her short fiction has been published in the London Magazine, and her debut novel Blank Canvas is published by Penguin Fig Tree in the UK. It was written as part of WriteNow, which is Penguin Random House's flagship mentorship scheme for emerging talent. Grace won one of 9 places on the scheme from a pool of over 1,300 applicants, which is insane, by the way. Here to chat all about it, welcome, Grace, to A Pair of Bookends.
So nice to be here. Thank you so much. Genuinely, it's such an honor.
It's so nice to have you on. I've been so excited to chat to you about this, and I feel like I have been seeing your book absolutely everywhere in the last week. So I'm really excited for us to dive in. But you know the drill. Before we dive in and talk about your book, I do like to ask what you're currently reading. So could you tell us?
Yeah, of course. I'm so excited for this question. Got my book already. It's called The Difficult Ghost by Leila Guerriero, and it's following the footsteps of Truman Capote.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
Really incredible. It's like part memoir slash non creative nonfiction,
Hmm.
and then also she just is such like a talent with her sentences, and so you learn a bit about her and you learn a bit about Truman Capote, and it's honestly an incredible novel. It's like almost travelogue-esque.
Oh, wow.
Really good.
I
So
hadn't heard of this, so that's a great recommendation. Thank you.
thanks so much.
I really want to ask you because originally I was thinking that you'd be great for our debut spotlight episode because obviously you're a debut author and you've got such a kind of unique story. But then there was so much to unpick from your book that I was like, this needs to be a book club episode.
I
Um,
tried.
but I really want to ask you, first of all, about what the journey has been like for you. I just think it's absolutely incredible that you worked 2 part-time jobs, you were studying. So how was that? Are you knackered?
That's such a nice question. I mean, if you ask my previous bosses, I'm not sure they'd be so enthusiastic about my work output as my laptop or something. Yeah, I was doing a lot of like opening the Google Docs very sneakily while I was on the front desk, like very. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I never really thought it would get anywhere at any stage. And I just thought, why not? And then I actually had to write out a post-it note that it was like, do you deserve it? How irrelevant do you want it? Because I was so panicked and like, this is not, I should not be here.
Oh my
So
God, no, you absolutely should be here. And I think it's amazing that you did the thing because I mean it's a really scary thing to put yourself out there like that. And I've seen, you know, there has been quite a few I mean I read the BBC article that the interview that you gave, and I've seen it quite a few times circulating on socials that your age has been mentioned quite a lot. Is that quite annoying, or do you not mind that your age is being brought up so much?
I mean, I genuinely don't mind. I'm just so pleased that it's happening at all. Yeah, I mean, what is really spooky is I think in one of the articles they mentioned other like young novelists,
Yes.
and I was just a bit, I was just a bit spooked to be honest, because I was like, no way am I at that level.
Oh,
So maybe, no, I think it's fun, and it's obviously like a tool as well to hopefully get people interested in a
yeah.
way to show that I'm writing about Gen Z in a way that, being a member of Gen Z, I maybe understand differently. But yeah.
I was at work earlier and I was talking to my Gen Z colleague and
Yeah.
I said she's 23, so like does that still count as Gen Z? And she was like, yeah, Hannah, it does. And I was like, oh my God, what if I'm like not cool enough to talk to her?
No, as if. No, I think, hey, millennials are very cool as well. I'm
Are we?
not
Are we
discriminatory.
really?
Yeah. Hey.
We try to be. We try, sometimes too hard. But let's get into your book, Blank Canvas. I'm so excited and I have so many questions about this book. But I would really like to start by asking about your protagonist, which is Charlotte. She isn't the most likable of characters, which I really enjoy reading. Because are any of us completely likable? Let's be honest. What inspired you to create Charlotte and create a person like this and sort of lean into somebody that's likable?
Ooh, I think because who I am generally, I'm quite like fixated on niceness and kindness, maybe to detriment. And I
You and me
think,
both.
hey, I mean, it's also part of being like raised as women as well, to be
Yes.
conditioned to be, presentable and kindly and
Hmm.
pleasing. And so I thought, in a way, it was quite fun to tap into the opposite for Charlotte. She's so, outwardly cruel, at least in the opening. And so it was quite fun to trace her impulses in a way that were really different from mine, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming across as very lovely. I do have a quote here from the book, and it's Charlotte, but she's talking about how she feels about other people. And she says, I did not discriminate in my distaste. I did not like many people. They had trivial concerns, trivial desires, and terribly proportioned faces. They were shallow, their tasks artless, their tastes even more so. And I don't know if she's talking about people in general or if it's people specifically on campus, but I just really loved
Oh,
that she
thank
just
you.
doesn't care that like this is how she feels about people because it's such a contrast to how I am. I'm like, I try and find something good in everybody, and I
That's
thought,
really beautiful. No, that's good. Yours is the way to be, definitely.
but then he's just like maybe me a bit of a try hard, like.
No. It's much healthier, I think, to hope the best of people than to be like her, just cynical and cold all the time. But in a way, it's like a protective mechanism, we might say, to, count people out in that way. When they do eventually hurt you, then you say, well, I knew, I told you. People are
Yeah,
awful.
for sure. Your second chapter opens with lying was easier in America. Why does Charlotte feel that way?
I'm making bold claims here. I'll try not to
You
anyway.
are, but I love it.
I mean, I think I was thinking about like the social nuances in England,
Hmm.
and I think there might, obviously, America, we think of it as really similar culturally, but when it comes to things like social class, especially when I was talking to my American friend about this, there are much like more differences than we might think.
Hmm.
And so I thought for Charlotte, who's looking for a kind of an reinvention of sorts or a clean slate, America is the place to go. Also, because if the second that they hear an English accent,
Hmm.
they will assume things about her. And so it's easier to say London and get away with it than it would be if she were to walk to anywhere in Staffordshire and say, yeah, I'm from London. They're like, come on, no way. Anyway.
So, I mean, that's interesting because do you think that people are more likely to trust British people?
Now I'm going to sound like Richard Curtis in Love
I mean, I'm
Actually,
not
where
saying you're I'm
you
not
know
saying
the bit
you're
when
like the one that knows everything. You know, I'm not expecting you to know everything, but I'm just curious whether you feel that way.
oh, I don't know actually. Yeah, maybe I feel bad because I don't want to make any grave
Sweeping
generalization
assumption. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just in
No, that's
case.
fair.
But yeah, probably. I mean, for Charlotte, at least it's a way to skate by and just be this sort of like vague posh girl from London who no one really like understands. Or a lot of her eccentricities are, well, you know her. She's from the UK, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have considered this before because I've spent so many years working in hospitality and I've worked with a lot of Eastern European people and I've always been so jealous at of how they kind of can speak to people and how they can be a bit more abrupt with people or blunt with people, and they don't kind of concern themselves whether that's rude or whatever. Whereas for us, that would feel rude, but it's not
Yeah.
to them. They don't mean anything by it, and it's not like, meant to cause offense to us. But we, I feel like as British people, we're like taught that, you need to be like overly polite to people.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
almost like, it becomes an issue for us and like a real concern. And I feel like
No,
it's,
you're so right. Is it better to be like, no, I can't make 11 o'clock? Like, that doesn't
yeah,
work. Than to be like, well, maybe if I were to move things around, I might be able to,
I could
like, that's
try.
mad. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're like fighting with ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mentioned in the intro that this is obviously a campus novel, but it is very much a fresh take on the campus novel. And I think we see a lot of novels that are kind of either rightfully or wrongly compared to The Secret History. And I wondered how you felt sort of entering the space of campus novels.
Oh, I mean, very intimidated, very intimidated from the jump. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan. Like at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of the campus novel,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's really hard to see where this book would slot alongside them, especially because of their tone and their ability to weave intellectual subjects really well.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't claim to do those, but I just love it as a genre. I love reading Donna Tartt's stuff. She's what a talent. Brandon Taylor, I'm a big fan. Like Garth Greenwell's last one, he talks about campus and teaching and how it's different, and I love that as well. So just to name a few, I'm a big
I mean,
fan.
I'm a big fan of Brandon Taylor. I love him. And I've just you've just reminded me that I need to read his newest because a friend sent me a proof and I'm so excited to get to it. You're nodding. Have you read it?
Yes, I have. It's amazing. Shout out Minor Black Figures.
Oh my God! I'm so
It's so
jealous.
good. I think you'll love it. It's got really similar, in a way, elements from real life. I
Re-
guess the relationship dynamic is really fascinating, but it's quite different as well. So I think you're in for a treat.
I can't wait. I'm really excited. I had actually, I've only just finished my first Donatar last month. I know.
That's so exciting.
I read The Secret History for the first time, and I was like, why is it taking me so long? I don't know why. I didn't expect to love it. I don't know where that idea came from.
I
Really
think
weird.
it's like quite intimidating as well, just in terms of like size
Yeah,
and density of the sentences, especially in the beginning. You're like, but
yeah.
it's, I mean, so good. I'm
It's
glad you liked it.
it's incredible. I also want to ask, was it always going to be set on this college campus?
Yes, I think because of who she is and her like lack of seriousness when it comes to projects.
Hmm.
Um, I think also her sort of blasé nature about commercial art and how you
Hmm.
can scrape by and that sort of stuff. I think it suited her personality in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, it was fun because it offered an opportunity to explore Katharina's
Hmm.
art process and how that was quite different from hers. So it showed new ways into art, and also it's a way of not making it about writing or it's like a slight distance there. So I wasn't like the novelist looked up from his novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I loved the final exhibition. I really loved them moving through the space and seeing what different people had done. I think it's one of the funniest things I've read that they're sent into this room wearing these 3D glasses and it's actually just a load of dildos
Oh,
around the
jeez.
room.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe. Yeah.
It's so good. And I try not to give spoilers in case anybody hasn't read the book yet, but I think I can get away with that spoiler. Like, it's just so
Yeah,
funny.
definitely.
But are you interested in art yourself? Are there any artists that you really like?
Ooh, I am in a way because I did like a module in art history when I was at uni, so it was playing in the back of my mind when I was writing.
Oh
But
my God.
mainly, it was so fun and just have access to this kind of knowledge. And I also enjoyed the process for the book, writing about Toulouse-Lautrec, like one of
Yes.
the artists she gets interested in. I saw it because I think I was looking for like, I typed in Google for my very intense research going lesbian paintings. And then I found I found like a Toulouse Lautrec, and I was like, what is, and then follow the threads further. And I also like that way about research is that you have a vague idea of something, and
Mhm.
then it leads you intensely and more specifically into one person. So yeah, that's
I mean, I love that, and I can't imagine what I completely, forget the fact that you would also have to have been doing research alongside writing the book, alongside doing your own studies and having to no doubt research within your own studies and, work as well. So it's it's quite a lot. It's a lot for your brain to take in.
I mean, I cancelled so many plans with friends. I'm just so lucky I have friends at all at this point. So
I mean, I hope that you're making the most of celebrating
yeah.
now that you're having this book out in the world and you're actually getting to remake those plans and be like, yeah,
Yeah,
about those plans we
definitely.
tried to make like whenever it was.
Definitely a lot of spoons trips happening. Yeah.
I love that, as you deserve. Now, at the heart of the novel is this lie that we mentioned in the intro. And obviously, she tells these people that she meets that her father's died. And she kind of tells this lie with such ease. Where did the lie and deception element of the story come from?
So I was with a friend from home at uni, and we're from the same place, like really near. And we were at like a flat, I guess, gathering, and we were asked like, "Where are you from?" And she said, "London." I was like, "What the hell?" I looked at her, like, "What is going on there?" So in a way, I mean, obviously, it's nowhere near as extreme as the lie that Charlotte tells, and she's a really lovely person. And obviously, sorry, I just have to caveat this with like massive, like she's still really nice. But anyway, it sort of spurred this thought. I was like, why did that happen? And what drives someone to sort of reinvent themselves in a
Mhm.
way? And so for Charlotte, that was kind of severing all ties to family.
I think it's so interesting. Like I think everyone must have at some point in their lives witnessed somebody, say a really extravagant lie, or
Yeah.
if even you might be involved with people that lying is like the whole part of their personality, and it's quite a lot if you're not the kind of person to lie to witness somebody do that. So I can only imagine your face in that moment.
Especially because we were from the same area. I was like, who are you kidding?
What
Yeah,
are you
just pop
even
down to
talking
Soho.
about?
And then, oh
Well,
dear.
I think it was interesting with this lie because as the reader, I was constantly fretting about whether she would get away with it or not. And I think, the lie element certainly adds to the suspense of the book. But I never I never considered whether I agreed with Charlotte or not. I was just more thinking like, oh God, I really hope she gets away with this. And I don't know if it's
Wow.
because we're reading from her perspective, but I never considered, whether this was right or wrong. Do you think that was a conscious thing that you were sort of toying with the reader's morality or ideas of morality?
That's a very fun question and gives me a lot of credit. And what what I would say was I was interested in the stakes rising the more
Yes.
she became connected to people, and
Yeah.
the greater her relationship, the stronger the affection, how that then fed back into the lie and like made it more paranoid and
Mhm.
obsessive, especially because the closer she got to Katerina, the worse the lie became in a way. Because in the beginning,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's like they don't know her. She claims not to care about them. And
Hmm.
so the fallout is never really going to be that extreme because she's a lonely person anyway. And then I was aware that building the relationship would, really be a kind of goldmine when it came to the tension.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's definitely complicated further by her relationship with Katerina. So I think it's a good time to talk about their relationship because, I mean, as you've just sort of hinted at, it starts out as fairly casual, but then it quickly becomes very serious. As my sisters would say, that is the case with lesbian relationships.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, let's go. Tight turnaround.
but tell us about creating their dynamic.
Ooh, I think Charlotte is determined from a very young age, or she's taught from a very young age that she is bad and she believes it. And I thought for someone who is so low and self-hating, it'd be fascinating to have them fall in love with someone who's open, free, believes in honesty, wears her opinions really like on the on her sleeve always. And so I thought that interplay between um Charlotte, who's like trapped with shame. And Katerina, who's, she's really proud of who she is. I thought that might be a fun dynamic to explore.
Yeah, definitely. There was a moment that I was so intrigued by, where they're at, I think they're at a club, and Charlotte sort of takes Katerina into the bathroom, and they have sex, and it feels like she has some kind of like she really enjoys this sort of power that she has over Katerina in that moment. There's a sort of switching of power imbalance, and I wondered why you think Charlotte behaves in this way.
That's such an interesting. Okay, I think she thinks about sex in quite maybe a dysfunctional way.
Yeah.
Um, and in that moment, I think she feels like she has something to prove,
Mm,
especially with Katerina, um, to prove not only that her identity is someone who likes women, but also her love for Katerina. And so
yeah.
she's got a lot of things stacking up behind her. And also, you're right, like the inherent power dynamic of saying to Katerina, "This is happening all right now." I think she enjoys that too, especially as someone who has been maybe quite powerless in her previous sexual history. So yeah.
It's a very interesting scene, I'll say that.
Sorry. Oh my God, I'm just. I genuinely I haven't reread that scene. I think ever. So
Really?
yeah.
How do you find it writing sex scenes?
It's such a shame because I love in a way like books, especially like literary fiction that does it really well and like builds it as essential for characters.
Yeah.
So I know the importance of a good sex scene.
Yeah.
That being said,
Yeah.
I would rather do anything else other than write
Yeah.
it. But yeah.
I can't I find it really difficult when I'm writing sex scenes to sort of remove the thought of like my mum or my nana reading it.
Yes.
And I don't know why that comes into my head. I don't know why they're the first people I think of, not of anybody else reading it, but of them. I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing would this be if they read that? When really I just need to like, if it's something that works for the characters, then it needs to happen, and we're all human, but it's just so embarrassing. That could be
No,
another
it
thing
is.
about being British.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's all circling back.
Still
You're so
circling.
right. No, that you're so right though. Like the fear of being that watched or seen is absolutely crippling and terrifying. But yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I really want to mention a quote. I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with quoting things back to authors, but I think, we need to give credit where it's due. And there's an amazing line where they're laying in bed together, and Charlotte says, "We were beyond physical closeness then. I felt as if I could slip inside her skin, her brain, and stay there." And I love that so much because I don't know if you've seen the film, is it Together? Um,
Ooh.
have you not seen it?
I don't think I have. I'm gonna write this down though.
It's
That's
a
incredible.
horror film that came out last year, and it's about this couple, and it is sort of very much leaning it without spoilers. It is very much leaning into that exact concept of wanting to slip inside somebody's skin.
That is fast. Okay, I'm giving this a watch. That sounds so cool.
But
But
I,
also yeah.
but I love that intensity of their relationship and how she feels about her, and it's just so hard to be like, well, why does she keep doing the things you're doing?
I know. It is odd. It's like if you love someone that much, surely you owe them honesty at least.
Yeah,
Such a
yeah,
basic level.
100%. And I also loved, I'm sorry, I'm quoting you again, but
This is nice.
but I think I don't know if this is when they're in Italy, but I could be wrong. But they're out with a couple that they're like really close with, and you write the two. Sorry, Charlotte says the two of us never disagreed in public. We stored the complaint and saved it for the walk home or the sofa in my flat, and I just felt so fascinated by that like need to kind of hide a minor disagreement.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's really interesting because then it does in read in that way it's seen as another way of being deceptive together.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
being in on this sort of like secret world that other people don't get. Um,
exactly.
but also in a way, maybe I'm revealing too much of myself, but it's a kind of romantic thing. It's like you save certain elements of your relationship for privacy.
A hundred
But
percent.
but then I guess that is where, if you're lying and you're lying to each other, that's where you can get a lot away with a lot of things you shouldn't. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, like, I wouldn't be ashamed, my boyfriend wouldn't be ashamed to like disagree with each other in public. Like, we
I
wouldn't
think that's
care, but we wouldn't like you'd never ever see us having like a full blown row like in public. I mean, we don't do that anyway, but like, it's just like, but I love it. I love seeing people having
yeah,
full
it's
blown
so
rows
nice
in
when
the
you get to listen
street.
in.
Yeah,
Like,
I
and
love
you
it
did
so
what with the
much.
bed sheets? Hello? I know.
I'm like straight at my window if I hear couples walking past having a drunken row. I'm like there.
Yeah, it's so fun. But I guess you can, in the moment, you can't control what you say or expose to a group of other people. And that's
Yeah.
why it's so fun for us as onlookers to get.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. I want to ask you about the trip to Italy that they go on, where they live and work. Sorry, they live with and work for a woman I think called Julia. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Um,
perfect.
and I feel like this trip tells us a lot about Charlotte, most specifically about her sort of class background and her relationship to money. And when Kat originally suggests going on a trip, before it's decided that it'll be Italy and it's this sort of setup that they find, Charlotte says that she couldn't even consider a trip
Hmm.
because of money. And once they're there, she ends up obviously struggling financially, and she won't accept handouts, like categorically will not accept handouts. She won't accept them from Kat. Later on she won't accept them from her dad, even when it's presented as a sort of gift. And I was really curious, why, for one, you think this trip becomes something that she decides to go on, and then secondly, why you think Charlotte, decides to go when she knows that she can't afford it. I don't know if that's the
So,
same question, actually.
no,
Now I've just worded that in.
no, I like it. I think I know what you mean. Well, again, it's the idea of moving. It's the classic thing. It's like wherever you go, there you are. As in,
Yeah.
like, you can't run away from yourself. But Charlotte, maybe because she's young,
Hmm.
think she can genuinely just get on a plane and be a different person. And so I think she can sense that there's a kind of ticking timer with the relationship. And so Italy is a kind of it's like a, what do you call it when you have a baby to, anyway, it's like the baby of the relationship that
Yeah.
she's sort of trying to enact on a new project together in the hope that it's going to fix her and
Hmm.
them. So I think that's what Italy does, and that's why she decides to hell with it and goes. But the money stuff, I think maybe because I'm like this myself, but the idea of like owing people financially is so deeply stressful and terrifying in a way that I think links back to who Charlotte is
Yeah.
as a person and just being so afraid to be in debt almost. And then it links back to the way that Katerina sees finances,
Hmm.
primarily due to her privilege. She doesn't have to think about debts and things like this because
Yeah.
she doesn't need to, and she's in a very different financial situation. But for Charlotte, money means so much, and she will count out all the coins because she doesn't have access to the kind of freedom that Katerina does. So
Yeah.
it's kind of difference.
I mean, I didn't relate to Charlotte in lots of ways, but that was the one way where I was like, this is speaking to me because I cannot accept handouts from people. I hate doing it. I hate it. I never want to ask anybody for help. I'm just like, I just need to make it work. I don't care how many jobs I'm working and
Hmm.
how little sleep I'm getting, or how my mental health is in tatters. Like, I will not accept money from people. I won't do it. I don't like it. And my mum is really bothered by it because she's like, if you're struggling and we can help you, we will help you. Let us help you. And I'm like,
Yeah, of
no,
course.
no, like, don't
You're
want
just
it.
like,
And
and
my boyfriend doesn't understand it either. He's like,
really.
he's like, if I am earning more or whatever, then,
Hmm.
and we're living in the same house, he was like, let me help you, like, let me go and get things, let me. And I'm like, it just stresses me out. I don't like feeling like I owe to somebody. And even if they tell me
Yeah,
you don't owe me anything, I still feel like I do. And
of
it's so
course.
it's so strange, but I really understood where she was coming from. Like, even like, I find it really distressing when like you go for like a coffee with somebody and then like, they decide to buy it for you and then they say, oh well, you can get the next one. And I'm like, but what if I have no money at the next one? Like,
Yeah, I've genuinely been in that situation so appallingly recently that I was just like, I'm just gonna get you another one now.
no, yeah.
Sit down because the tea is coming your way now. But yeah, I completely relate to that feeling. I guess as well, it's like a kind of power thing,
Yeah.
not to get too psychological about it, but if you do in a way that, again, is probably unhealthy. But if you do ascribe like power and money and you link it all together, to be on the receiving end of it is to in some way be a little powerless.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's what Charlotte would think.
No, absolutely. And I'm really interested in her background because obviously she does lie. Part of her lie is that she's from London when she's
Mhm.
actually from like Lichfield. And I'm really curious what you think, why you think she's sort of so ashamed of that background, and whether it's, the shame of her parents or whether she's ashamed of the place specifically. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, of course. I just want to say also that Lichfield is so nice. I don't, I'm like,
Nobody come and scrap Grace,
yeah,
like.
please, everyone in Lichfield, legends, firstly, but secondly, I think Charlotte, and this is like key to her, who she is as a person, when she feels uncomfortable with an emotion or experience, she will sort of ascribe like a visual quality to it.
Hmm.
So, like with Katerina, she's uncomfortable with feeling desire for her, and so she will then sort of distract herself with like the texture of her skin. But
Hmm.
and she does it in a similar way with home. Like she's deeply uncomfortable and upset about her treatment at home. And so she twists it into a kind of shame about where she's from in
Yeah.
terms of location and I guess upbringing. So yeah, I guess class and shame and almost sexuality as well get really mixed up in that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And I was really drawn to her relationship with her dad. And I'm not going to give any spoilers about, the things we find out about their dynamic, but there is a moment that I just mentioned where he tries to give her money as a sort of gift. And she says it had long stopped being about the money, but about his desire to prove his affection in a concrete way. And I was just like, is this a dad thing across the board? Like,
Yeah. Oh, it's so yeah, it's such an easy, I guess it's a shortcut again with like uncomfortable emotions. The only way that you can really show it
mhm.
in if without language for her dad at least is by handing a physical thing over. Um
It's
like a like money.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. And I was like, anybody that's had a sort of dysfunctional relationship
Yeah.
with their parent or their
Yeah.
dad specifically, it's it definitely is something you can relate to. But I was really intrigued by her background just in general, and I think you write about it so well. And I think the sort of reveals that we get were in a way just so unexpected, and I think you kind of hide them so well throughout. I wondered what it's like in terms of plotting, in terms of, plotting out when you're going to reveal certain things. I don't know if this is possible to speak about without giving spoilers, but if there's
No.
anything you can tell us, please do.
Yeah, good. I think I was interested to see like the way memory would kind of just jump in
Hmm.
suddenly without warning in a way that it occasionally does when you're walking about daily.
Yeah.
You'll just be like, oh my God, remember that? When the brain is really helpful like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought in terms of like format and the form of the book, that would be quite a useful way to cut away from the present with
Hmm.
a cheeky flashback. So I think hopefully a lot of the time they are linked to whatever is happening in the present. Like
Yeah.
she gets a call from her dad, I think from the pub, and then she thinks about her dad and how ashamed she kind of was of him in church. And that's all linked through the common emotion that it brings up both
Y-
times. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, definitely. And you just reminded me of another thing that I loved, which is her being taken into the pub by her dad, which I think is also a very
It's the
typical
right
thing.
passage.
Yeah, I think for anybody that's maybe had like a working class background, like it's definitely a thing of being taken into the pub with your dad and being sat there with a packet of crisps while they're trying to shit with their friends. It's very much like
Um,
you're right, it is a rite of passage. There is a lot of sort of themes of religion throughout the book, and I wondered if you could speak to that and where those elements came from.
I think I do have my parents were raised Catholic and most of my family are Catholics.
Hmm.
So I do have an understanding of the kind of like natural and inherent shame that you might grow up with, depending on obviously it ranges from family to family. But so I understand and I think it really helped inform who she was,
Yeah.
um, and
But do you
especially her.
think that no, don't be sorry. Do you think that sort of Catholic guilt and shame is increased even more for a queer person, for a queer character?
I mean, yes, definitely. I think there's a natural, in a way, suspicion of sex generally. I mean, in
Yeah,
most cultures and religions, but I
yeah,
think it is enhanced by a feeling of difference, or especially Charlotte, when she's younger, she feels like a natural separation from them, especially in church, and she feels like they're all part of making a fiction about their lives that she never got the rule book to, and she doesn't know how to participate in, doesn't have that
yeah,
language for it. And so I think, yeah, that's part of, I think, growing up, I guess, in a heterosexual world.
yeah. The joys.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry. No, I mean, obviously it varies varies from cultural context and everything, but yeah.
if it wasn't already apparent though, Grace, I absolutely love this book, and I've been so excited to chat to you about everything in it. I think there's so many different things to speak about, and it's really hard to kind of narrow it down into a 45-minute interview because I could honestly speak to you for hours about these characters and this world that you've created. But I do want to ask you a few things about writing and about your inspirations. So I think firstly, I would love to know what it was like being part of the Right Now scheme, and if you had any advice for any writers wanting to apply for that scheme or for wanting to apply for similar things. What advice would you give as somebody that's been through
Oh, thanks so much. Firstly, thank you for everything you said. That was so kind.
it?
And I'd say the Right Now scheme genuinely made the book get published. It was this year-long mentorship with an editor called Ella Harold. Big up Ella, she's incredible. And then you really get, I guess, your work is taken seriously, and um, especially like in a professional setting, which was so new and exciting. And she sent out lots of titles and books, and really expanded my understanding of the publishing world as well, which I didn't really, I had no idea
I mean, it's
what
so
the
hard to grasp,
nuances.
isn't it, when you're not in that world? Yeah.
Genuinely, still, I am surprised by things I didn't know about, like lists or like orders or anyway. But it was just incredible to get access to, and I'd in terms of future applicants or anyone interested in
Or
writing.
anybody trying to write their debut, like what would you say to
Oh
them?
yeah, I know that you're a writer yourself.
I am
Hey,
writing, yes.
yeah, so exciting. Yeah, I'm a real fan. It's not it's not
Oh,
fake fan here. I'd say I think because obviously comps are really hard,
yeah.
but it helps to have 5 books or titles of something that you really love
Hmm.
open while you're writing, even if it's like an ebook or physical books on the desk. So that way, whenever you're stuck with a particular scene or pacing, or you forget like how is dialogue actually formatted and what makes good dialogue,
Hmm.
just genuinely open the page on one of your 5 titles, and you can sort of teach yourself in a way. So that's, I guess, one of my main recs.
Can I throw you in the deep end here and ask what your 5 would
Oh,
be?
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait, I set myself
Or if
up.
you
I
could
set myself.
just, you did set yourself up to be fair, but
No,
if
no.
you could just think of some off the top of your head.
Okay, I think, I love Tessa Moshfegh's style. So, Eileen in particular is
Okay. I haven't read that one. I know.
good things coming your way. Good things. Um, I really, really love Eileen. So maybe that. But then I can't compare Van Canvas to Eileen because they would not stand up. But I'd big fan of that. Obviously, Brandon Taylor, big fan.
Love.
So real life. Not that again. Not that it's anywhere on the same level, but
I
sorry.
loved is it the late Americans as well? Is that?
Yes.
I thought that was incredible. Yeah.
So good. So good. I think that's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Conversations with Friends.
My
Big up
fave. One of my
Salary.
all-time faves. Yeah.
Stunning. I'm
Yeah.
so pleased. I mean, she's such an absolute genius.
Yeah.
I mean, every like her political activism as well. I'm
She's incredible.
amazed by.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Love. No, don't be sorry. She's amazing, and I think we should all be looking to what she's doing right now as an example.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
completely. Oh, I think I've got 3. No, I need to think.
I know in your acknowledgements you do say, I'm also hugely indebted to far better writers than myself, without whom this novel would not exist. And you list Andre Aciman, Brandon Taylor, Garth Greenwell, and Kay Patrick.
Thank you. That was so helpful. Yes, Hey Patrick, they are incredible.
Hmm.
Their novel Mrs. S, which is a
Which
debut
I've not
novel.
read yet.
Again, absolute. You're gonna have such a fun like next week. It's so good. Oh yeah, Mrs. S. I would love to think that that Blank Canvas and Mrs. S are like remotely,
Companion
um,
pieces.
yeah.
Let's call
I
it
mean,
that.
fingers crossed, eh? And then Garth Greenwell, just again, I'm such a nerd. Like such a nerd for literature. I'm a big fan.
I love
Love
that.
Small Rain. Anyway, sorry.
And you're gonna, if we were in the room, you'd throw a book at me right now because I haven't read Garth Greenwell.
It's so
I
exciting. No,
know,
all of
very
this is great.
exciting. All, great things to come, and I've heard wonderful things. But yeah, I always hate it when there's like such huge gaps in my literary education, and I read so much, so it's impossible to
No,
it's
you'll have
impossible
read
to read
so many
everything.
things.
But yeah,
No, I'm sure like there are so many like elements of reading that I've not. There will be gaps in mine, that so we can
we're
meet.
on the same page.
Exactly, exactly.
But I think my last question to you before we get your recommendation is to ask what is next for you. I believe that you're working on something new, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I am just cracking on, writing every day, fingers crossed. I feel I'm so superstitious, but hopefully something happens with this
It
one.
will. It absolutely will. You'll get there. I
Thank
mean,
you so much.
it baffles me when I'm, working on my first novel, like how people do this over and over and over again. Because when you're in it, you're like, how do people get to the end and then think, you know what, I'm going to do it again multiple
It's,
times.
hey, it's so exciting, especially if you're in the. Are you in the middle of your draft at the moment, or are you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, and it's
Whoa.
it's it's really scary because it's happening and the ideas for this book are coming to me when they need to, but I can't help but be like, oh, well, what if somebody in the future asks me like what I'm working on next? Like, how will I ever have another idea?
I promise it will arrive. I know it is. It always does.
I hope so. God, I hope so.
No,
Um,
it will.
but can I ask, as my final request, for a recommendation from you? This can be anything. It can be books, TV, film, art if you want, but anything goes for this one. So whatever you'd like to recommend.
Wow, that's such a nice question. Ooh, I'm gonna. Okay, if anyone hasn't watched, I was gonna say Heated Rivalry, but everyone should watch
I
that
am
anyway.
waiting to watch Heated Rivalry. I'm so excited and I'm so glad you mentioned it.
Okay, stay tuned. I mean, you're gonna love it. I think it's incredible,
I
masterpiece.
can't wait.
It's so good. It's actually dominated my mind for, far longer than healthy. I can't even string a sentence about it,
Love.
but what else?
I mean,
But
sorry, you've like opened up a can of worms here. I
sorry.
never expected to, and I feel awful when I say this because it's not anything against people that write within those genres or people that write
Mhm.
those books, but I always am so pleasantly surprised when I enjoy like a romance novel because I always think, oh, I'm not going to enjoy it, or it's something that's too fluffy and not complex enough for me, and that
Mhm.
sounds so snobbish, and I really, really don't mean to be, but it's because I'm such a fan of literary contemporary fiction that
Definitely.
it's such a pleasant surprise when I find something I'm like, oh my God, why have I not gone to this before? But Heated Rivalry was one of those pleasant surprises that I found in a book. And I'm really, really excited to watch the series. Thank
Whoa.
you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, you're so right. It's so fun. And honestly, the fact that you love the books is just such a great place to work for from the TV show. Because every little gesture that you read in the book, because it's quite like, I'd say, a cinematic style, quite,
Yeah,
speedy, you get to see on screen in such like a sweet and tender way.
I love
Anyway.
that. So
Oh
Heated
dear.
Rivalry is your recommendation.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say something really. I was gonna say something really intellectual, and then I just
We
my
love
eyes
Heated
glazed
Rivalry.
over.
I'm so pleased you're not the first person to recommend that on the podcast. So
Okay, Stunning. That's my
We
right.
love to see it. Grace, thank you so, so much for coming on the podcast today. I've had so much fun chatting to
I
you.
had so much fun. Thank
And
you.
let us get our second book on the way so that we can get you back on the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna make it happen. Fingers crossed.
Where can the listeners find you online, if anywhere?
Oh, I'm on Instagram on just at Grace Anna Murray,
Yeah,
and I think
that's
oh,
it.
book in bookshops if they
And
fancy.
bookshops, of course, yeah.
Woo woo.
So links to grab yourselves a copy if you've not already read it. To get your copy of Blank Canvas, I'll be popping links in the show notes. I will also pop a link in the show notes to go and give Grace a follow. And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to review and subscribe. And if you want to give us a follow, you can do so at A Pair of Bookends Pod on Instagram and at A Pair of Bookends on Twitter, even though I don't really use it anymore, and TikTok. And for extra content, you can find us on Patreon. That is all we've got time for. So thank you so much again, Grace. I've absolutely loved this.
No, thank you. It's such a pleasure. It's so fun.
And thank you, listeners, for listening. Goodbye.